The Valori ship was the most beautiful thing Park Do-hun had ever seen. It hung above Earth like a silver flower, its curved walls catching the sunlight. He stood on the landing platform with his two teammates, waiting for the aliens to come down. "I still cannot believe this is real," said Kim Yuna. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and quick movements. Before joining the military, she had won gold medals in Taekwondo at the Olympics. Now she was about to learn how aliens fought. "Believe it," said Lee Taiho. He was older than the other two, with gray starting to show in his short hair. He had spent 15 years teaching Hapkido before the military recruited him. "We are about to become students again." The ship's door opened with a soft sound. 3 Valori walked down the ramp. Do-hun had seen pictures, but the real thing was different. The Valori were tall and thin, with blue-gray skin that seemed to glow slightly. They had 4 arms, 2 on each side of their body. Their faces were mostly human-shaped, but instead of hair, they had long tendrils that moved on their own. The tallest Valori stepped forward. His tendrils lifted in what Do-hun had learned was a greeting. "I am Master Orvine," the alien said. His voice was soft and musical. "I will be your teacher." Do-hun bowed deeply. "We are honored, Master." The Valori's tendrils twitched. But Do-hun did not know if that was a good sign or bad. "Come," said Orvine. "We will begin today." The training room on the Valori ship was unlike any gym Do-hun had ever seen. The floor was soft but firm, made of some material that absorbed impact. The walls showed images of stars and galaxies slowly moving past. It was like standing in space itself. "Shelkara," said Master Orvine, "is the dance of stars. My people have practiced it for 3,000 years. No other species in the galaxy has ever matched us." He moved to the center of the room. His forearms spread wide. "Watch carefully." What happened next took Do-hun's breath away. Orvine began to move. His body flowed like water, each arm doing something different, yet all working together perfectly. His feet barely touched the ground. He spun and struck and blocked all at once. And as he moved, his skin began to glow brighter. Energy seemed to flow through him like electricity. The demonstration lasted only 2 minutes, but when it ended, all 3 humans stood in stunned silence. Yuna was the first to speak. "That was the most beautiful thing I have ever seen." "Thank you," said Orvine. His glow faded back to normal. "This is the first form. There are 108 forms in total. Most Valori spend their entire lives learning them. How long do you think it will take us?" asked Taiho. Orvine's tendrils moved in what Do-hun now recognized as the Valori laugh. "You are a 2-armed species. You cannot truly perform Shelkara. But with dedication, you may learn to approximate the basic movements in perhaps 30 years. 30 years. Do-hun felt his heart sink, but he kept his face calm. "Then we should start immediately," he said. The first week was humbling. The basic stance of Shelkar required all 4 arms to be positioned in a specific pattern. Since humans only had 2 arms, they had to choose which positions to hold. Every choice felt wrong. No, Orvine said for the 100th time. "Your balance is incorrect. You lean too much to the left." "The form was designed for 4 arms," Yuna said, her voice tight with frustration. "Our bodies are not balanced the same way." "That is your limitation, not the art's," Orvine replied gently. "You must adapt your body to the form, not the form to your body." That night, the 3 humans sat in their quarters on the ship. They were tired and sore. Do-hun's legs ached from holding positions that his body was not designed for. "He's kind," Taiho said, "but he does not understand. He thinks we can simply ignore that we are built differently." Yuna was quiet for a long moment. Then she stood up. "Show me the stance again," she said. Do-hun stood and took the basic position. his two arms held in the best approximation he could manage. Yuna walked around him slowly. "You are trying to copy where his upper arms go," she said. "But look at your legs. They are doing nothing." "Shelkar does not use the legs much," Dohan said. "The Lori legs are thin. They use their arms for power." "Yes," said Yuna, "but our legs are strong. In Taekwondo, our kicks have more power than our punches. What if we use our legs to replace the lower arms?" Taiho sat up straighter. "That is not how the form works." "No," Yuna agreed. "But it might be how our version works." She moved to the center of the room. She took the basic stance, but instead of trying to hold her arms in 4 positions, she held them in 2. Her legs spread wider, her knees bent deeper. She shifted her weight like she was preparing for a spinning kick. "This feels more natural," she said. Dawn watched her. Something in his mind clicked. He thought about his grandfather, who had taught him sword fighting when he was young. Those old Korean techniques used the whole body together, spinning and turning to create power. "We are thinking about this wrong," he said slowly. "We are trying to be like them. But maybe we should try to be like us." Taiho stood up. There was a new light in his eyes. "In Hapkido, we use the enemy's force against them. We do not need 4 arms to do that. We need good timing and good angles." The 3 of them looked at each other. "Orvine said we cannot change the forms," Yuna said. "He said they are sacred." Doan smiled. "He also said it would take us 30 years just to learn the basics. I do not have 30 years." He moved to stand beside her. "Show me what you are thinking." For the rest of the night, they worked together. They took the beautiful alien art and began to make it their own. They did not know it yet, but they had just taken the first step toward changing the galaxy forever. 6 months passed. The news spread across the galaxy like fire. "Impossible," said the Valori Council leader. She was watching a video recording in her chambers on the homeworld. "This recording must be fake." "It is not fake," said her advisor. "I have verified it myself. The humans are doing this." On the screen, Kim Yuna stood in the training room. She was alone. Her eyes were closed, and her breathing was slow and deep. Then she moved. Her body flowed through the Shelkar forms, but they were different now. Where a Valori would use 4 arms, she used 2 arms and 2 legs. Her kicks were fast and powerful. Her body spun and twisted in ways no Valori could match. And most shocking of all, her skin was glowing. The council leader leaned forward. "That is the energy channeling. That is sacred to our people. How is a human doing this?" "We do not know," said the advisor. "But she's not the only one." He changed the video. Now it showed Park Dohon. He held a wooden practice sword in both hands. He was moving through a form that mixed Shelkara with something older, something from Earth. His movements were sharp and precise. With each strike, energy flowed along the blade like blue fire. "The third one is perhaps the most concerning," said the advisor. He changed the video again. Li Taiho was sparring with a Valori soldier. The soldier was young and skilled, using all 4 arms to attack. Taiho stood calmly and waited. When the Valori struck, Taiho moved just slightly to the side. He grabbed the soldier's arm and twisted. The Valori flew through the air and landed hard on his back. "He is using our techniques against us," the council leader whispered. "He's using our own energy flow to throw our warriors." "Yes," said the advisor. "And he learned to do this in 6 months." Master Orvine had called a meeting. He looked troubled. "I must be honest with you," he said to the 3 humans. "You have surprised me. You have surprised everyone." "We meant no disrespect," said Dohan. "We only tried to find our own way." "I know," said Orvine. "And that is what troubles me. In 3,000 years, no one has ever changed Shelkara. The forms are perfect. The masters before me said they could not be improved. We did not improve them, said Yuna. We just made them work for human bodies. Orveen's tendrils moved slowly. Perhaps. But the result is something new. Something we do not have a name for. We have been calling it Shinshell, said Taiho. It means new star in our language. The old master was quiet for a long moment. New star, he repeated. Yes, that is a good name. Because you are not copying our dance anymore. You are creating your own. He walked to the window and looked out at the stars. I received a message from my homeworld today. The council is concerned. Other species are asking questions. They want to know why humans are advancing so fast. What did you tell them? Asked Dawn. I told them the truth, said Orveen. I told them that I do not understand it myself. The breakthrough came 3 days later. Yuna had been thinking about the energy channeling for weeks. The Valori could make their bodies glow with power. They could hit harder and move faster when they did this. They called it touching the star within. It is not magic, she told Dohan and Taiho. They were sitting in the ship's garden, surrounded by alien plants that smelled like honey. I have been studying it. The glow is just energy moving through the body. The Valori do it naturally, like breathing. They do not even think about it. But humans cannot do it naturally, said Taiho. Our bodies are different. Yes, but we can learn to do it on purpose. Yuna stood up. Watch me. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Her hands moved to her chest, then down to her stomach. She was focusing on something inside herself. In Taekwondo, we talk about ki, she said. The inner energy. Most people think it is just a story, but it is real. It is just adrenaline and muscle control and breathing all working together. She opened her eyes. Her skin began to glow, faintly at first, then brighter. The Valori have been doing this without understanding it, she said. They just feel it. But humans can study it. We can break it down into steps. We can teach it to anyone. Dahan felt a chill run down his spine. If we can teach this to anyone, then every human can learn to fight like a Valori, Yuna finished. Maybe better than a Valori. The news spread fast after that. Other alien species sent messages to Earth. They wanted to know more about these humans who had taken the greatest martial art in the galaxy and changed it. Some were curious. Some were impressed. Some were afraid. The Krath Empire sent a formal complaint to the Galactic Assembly. The Krath were large reptilian warriors with thick scales. They had been trying to learn Shelkara for 500 years without success. How is it fair? Their ambassador demanded. But these newcomers can do in months what we could not do in centuries. No one had a good answer. On the Valori ship, Orveen called his students together one final time. The assembly has announced the annual combat games, he said. It is a tournament where species compete against each other. My people have won for 600 cycles. We know, said Dohan. We have been watching recordings of past games. Then you know how skilled the competitors are, said Orveen. You know that no one has ever seriously challenged Valori warriors. We know, said Yuna. Orveen's tendrils hung still, a sign of serious emotion. Earth is requested to enter the tournament this year. The assembly has agreed. The three humans looked at each other. They had been training for 6 months. They had created something new. But were they ready to face the best fighters in the galaxy? How many fighters can we send? Asked Taiho. 5, said Orveen. You will need to choose wisely. Dohan nodded slowly. Then we need to go home. We need to find 2 more people who can learn what we have learned. You have 4 months until the games, said Orveen. Is that enough time? Yuna smiled. It was a confident smile, the smile she used to wear before her Olympic matches. "We are human," she said. 4 months is plenty. Orvine watched them prepare to leave. He was proud of them in a strange way. They were his students, even if they had gone far beyond anything he had taught them. But he was also worried. The galaxy was watching now, and not everyone would be happy with what they saw. The Arena of Champions was built on a space station the size of a small moon. Ships from 300 worlds circled it like stars around the sun. Inside, 50,000 beings of every shape and size filled the seats. Park Doan stood at the entrance with his team. Beside him were Yuna and Taiho. Behind them were the 2 newest members. Choi Yoonji was 25 years old. She had been a gymnast before joining the military. Her body was small but incredibly flexible. When she moved through the Shinshell forms, she looked like water flowing through air. Baek Jin-soo was the youngest at 22. He had grown up learning Sci Realm, the traditional Korean wrestling. He was not as fast as the others, but when he grabbed you, you did not get away. 5 humans, said the announcer, its voice echoing through the arena. The newest species in the Galactic Assembly. This is their first combat games. The crowd made various sounds. Some were laughing. Some were curious. None of them expected much. They are so small, said a crass spectator. They have only 2 arms. This will be over quickly. The first round began. Jin-soo walked onto the fighting platform. His opponent was a Krath warrior named Gresh. The reptile was twice Jin-soo's size, with scales that looked like armor and claws that could tear through metal. "You should surrender now, little human," Gresh said. "I do not want to hurt you too badly." Jin-soo did not answer. He just dropped into his stance. It was low and wide, his knees bent deep, his hands open and ready. It was the Cerium wrestling stance, but changed. His weight shifted constantly, and a faint glow was beginning to form around his hands. "Begin," said the referee. Gresh charged. He was fast for his size, claws reaching for Jin-soo's throat. The crowd expected blood. They did not expect what actually happened. Jin-soo moved to the side, just slightly. His hand caught Gresh's arm. His hip turned, and suddenly the massive Krath was flying through the air. The impact when Gresh hit the ground cracked the platform. The reptile tried to get up, but Jin-soo was already on him, one hand pressing on a pressure point in his neck. Blue energy flowed from the human's palm. Gresh went limp. "Winner," the referee announced into shocked silence. "Baek Jin-soo." Match time, 4 seconds. For a moment, no one made a sound. Then the arena exploded with noise. The human section cheered wildly, but they were only a small part of the crowd. The rest was a mixture of confusion and fear. "How did he do that?" Someone shouted. "That was Shelkara energy," shouted another. But the technique was not Shelkara. In the Valori viewing box, Master Orvine sat very still. His tendrils were flat against his head, a sign of deep concern. "They have changed more than I realized," he said quietly. The matches continued. Taiho faced a Myram warrior, an insect-like being with 6 limbs and lightning-fast reflexes. The Myron attacked with a blur of strikes. Taiho stood like a stone and let them come. Each strike that touched him was redirected away. He barely seemed to move, but the Myrine's own energy was being used against it. After 3 minutes, the Myron collapsed from exhaustion. It had been fighting itself the entire time. Yoonji fought a Valori warrior next. The crowd leaned forward for this match. Finally, they would see how humans compared to the masters of Shelkara. The Valori moved with perfect grace, all 4 arms creating a wall of strikes and blocks. It was beautiful to watch. Yoonji bent backwards so far that her head nearly touched the ground. A strike passed over her. She twisted and rolled between the Valori's legs. Her foot caught its knee from behind. The Valori stumbled. That was all the opening Yunji needed. She was on its back in an instant, her arms and legs wrapped around it like vines on a tree. The Valori could not reach her with any of its forearms. She found the pressure points on its neck and squeezed. The match was over. Dohan won his match with a single strike. His opponent was a proud warrior from a species known for their strong bones. Dohan channeled all his energy into one palm strike to the chest. The warrior flew backward and did not get up. But it was Yuna's final match that everyone remembered. Her opponent was Tever, the reigning champion. He had won the combat games for 12 years in a row. He was considered the greatest Shalkara master alive. The arena fell silent as they faced each other. "You have done well, human," Tever said. His tendrils were raised in respect. Better than anyone expected. "But this is where your journey ends." Yuna bowed to him. "We will see." The match lasted 12 minutes. Tever was everything the legend said. His forearms moved like a whirlwind. He attacked from angles that should have been impossible. His energy control was perfect. But Yuna matched him. Where he had 4 arms, she had 2 arms and 2 legs that kicked just as fast. Where he moved with flowing grace, she moved with explosive power. Where he followed the ancient forms perfectly, she mixed them with techniques from Earth that he had never seen before. 3 minutes in, she drew first blood with a spinning kick to his face. 6 minutes in, he caught her arm and threw her across the platform. She rolled and came up smiling. 9 minutes in, they were both glowing so bright that the audience had to shield their eyes. In the final minute, Yuna did something no one had ever seen before. She combined 3 different techniques into one movement. A taekwondo kick, a Shalkara arm lock, and an energy burst from her palm. All at the same time. Tever could block 2 of them. He could not block all 3. He hit the ground hard. He tried to rise, but his body would not obey him. The energy strike had temporarily shut down his muscles. "Winner," the referee announced. Kim Yuna of Earth. The silence lasted for a full 10 seconds. Then the arena erupted. The human section was screaming with joy. But they were not the only ones cheering anymore. Beings from dozens of species were on their feet, shouting for the small 2-armed warriors who had just defeated the champions of the galaxy. Yuna walked to Tever and offered him her hand. He took it, and she helped him stand. "That was not Shalkara," he said. "No," she agreed. "We call it Shinshell." The new star dance. Tever's tendrils moved slowly. "You have created something remarkable," he said. "But I wonder if you understand what you have done." Yuna looked at him. "What do you mean?" "The galaxy has been balanced for a long time," Tever said. "My people have been the greatest warriors. Other species have accepted this. They have built their politics and their empires around this truth." He looked out at the cheering crowd. "You have just proven that truth is no longer true. Nothing will be the same after today." Yuna followed his gaze. She saw the cheering humans. She saw the shocked Valori. She saw the calculating looks on the faces of 100 other species. She had come here to win a tournament. But Tever was right. She had done something much bigger. And she was not sure yet if that was a good thing or a bad thing. The investigation lasted 3 weeks. Representatives from 40 different species demanded answers. How had the humans learned so quickly? Had they stolen Valori secrets? Had they used some kind of technology to cheat? The answer was simple, but no one wanted to believe it. "We just adapted the techniques to fit our bodies," Dahan explained to the Assembly Council for the 5th time. "We did not cheat. We did not steal. We just learned in a different way." The Krath ambassador slammed his fist on the table. "Impossible. My people have been trying to learn Shelkara for 500 years. We are stronger than humans. We are tougher than humans. Why can they do what we cannot? Yuna answered calmly. Because you tried to learn it exactly as the Valori do it. You tried to copy them perfectly. We did not try to copy. We tried to understand. What is the difference? Asked a Myron representative. Copying means doing the same thing, Yuna said. Understanding means knowing why it works. Once you understand why, you can change how. The room was quiet. Many of the aliens looked confused. Some looked angry. A few looked thoughtful. The Valori representative finally spoke. She was old, her tendrils gray with age. The investigation is complete, she said. The humans did not cheat. They did not break any rules. They simply did something we never expected. Then what happens now? The craft demanded. The old Valori looked tired. Now, everything changes. The offers came like a flood. Within 1 week of returning to Earth, each member of the team had received dozens of messages from across the galaxy. The Threll Collective wants me to train their security forces, said Yunji, reading her messages. They are offering 5 million credits per year. The Outer Reaches Mining Corporation wants me to protect their operations, said Jinsu. They say pirates are a problem, and their current guards cannot handle it. Taiho was quiet. He had received the most troubling offer of all. A group called the Free Systems Coalition contacted me, he said. They want me to help them overthrow Valori influence in their region. Everyone stopped talking. They want you to start a war? Doan asked. They did not say war, Taiho replied. But that is what they mean. They have been under Valori control for 200 years. They think that with human fighters, they can finally break free. Yuna sat down heavily. This is getting out of control. Yes, said Doan. And I do not think we can stop it. Master Orvine requested a private meeting. Dohan found him in a small garden on the Earth Embassy station. The old Valori was sitting alone, looking at Earth through the window. You came, Orvine said. I was not sure you would. You were my teacher, said Doan. I owe you respect. I wonder if I deserve it. Orvine's tendrils hung low. I taught you Shelkara because I thought I was being generous. I thought I was giving a gift to a young species that needed help. It was a gift, said Dohan. Was it? Orvine turned to face him. Do you know why my people are the most powerful in the galaxy? Dohan nodded. You're warriors. Your fighting skills. Yes, for 3,000 years, Shelkara has been our greatest strength. Other species might have larger armies or better weapons, but they could never match our warriors in combat. One Valori master could defeat a dozen ordinary soldiers. He paused. This gave us power. Political power. Economic power. When negotiations failed, everyone knew that the Valori would win any war. So negotiations rarely failed. And now? Doan asked. Now, you have taken our greatest strength and made it yours. Worse, you have improved it. And you have shown the entire galaxy that it can be done. Orvine walked to the window. Already, other species are asking humans to teach them. Already, old alliances are breaking. Species that were afraid of us for centuries are suddenly feeling brave. We did not mean for this to happen, said Dawn. I know, said Orvine. That is what troubles me most. You did not plan this. You did not do it on purpose. You simply learned and adapted and created something new. It is what humans do, I think. You cannot help it. He turned back to Dawn. My people are afraid of you now. Not because you are strong. We have faced strong enemies before. They are afraid because they do not understand you. They do not understand how you think. How do we think? Doan asked. Like nothing else in the galaxy, Orvine said. Every other species we have met, they see something and they try to copy it. They try to become like the thing they admire. But humans see something and immediately start thinking about how to change it, how to combine it with something else, how to make it their own. He shook his head slowly. It is a gift, but it is also terrifying, because it means that nothing we give you stays the same. Everything becomes something new. Do-han was quiet for a long moment. What should we do? He finally asked. I do not know, Orvine admitted. I have lived for 200 years, and I have never faced a problem like this. The old balance of power is broken. The galaxy will need to find a new balance. I fear that the process will not be peaceful. The answer came sooner than anyone expected. 3 months after the tournament, a message arrived at the Earth Embassy. It was marked urgent and classified. There's a meeting happening in secret, the message said. Representatives from the Valori hardliners, the Krath Empire, and several other species. They are discussing what to do about the human problem. The human problem, Yuna repeated when she read it. They are talking about us like we are a disease. To them, maybe we are, said Taiho. Do-han read the rest of the message. They are meeting on Station Keller 7. That is neutral territory. What are they planning? Asked Yunji. It does not say, said Do-han. But I think we need to find out. He looked at his team. We have been invited to a diplomatic function on Keller 7. It is supposed to be a celebration of the combat games. Every species will be there. You think the meeting and the function are connected, said Yuna. I think it is too much of a coincidence, said Do-han. Jinsu cracked his knuckles. Are we walking into a trap? Probably, said Do-han. But we cannot hide on Earth forever. Whatever they are planning, we need to face it. The team exchanged glances. They had trained together for almost a year now. They had fought the best warriors in the galaxy and won. They were ready for whatever came next. Or at least, they thought they were. Pack for the function, said Do-han. But also pack for a fight. They left for Keller 7 the next morning. Station Keller 7 floated in the empty space between 3 star systems. It was built centuries ago as neutral ground, a place where enemies could meet without fear. The diplomatic function was held in its grand hall, a room with crystal walls that showed the stars in every direction. Park Do-han walked through the crowd with his team. They wore formal military uniforms from Earth, simple black suits with silver details. Nothing flashy, but every being in the room watched them pass. I feel like prey, Jinsu muttered. Smile, said Yuna. We are here to make friends. The night started peacefully. Representatives from dozens of species came to introduce themselves. Some were genuinely friendly. Others were clearly trying to learn more about human capabilities. Do-han answered their questions politely but carefully. Then the lights went out. It happened in an instant. The crystal walls turned dark. The exits slammed shut with heavy metal doors. Emergency lights flickered red. Now, said a voice in the darkness. 40 figures dropped from the ceiling. They wore black armor and carried weapons that glowed with deadly energy. Do-han recognized fighters from at least 5 different species. Valori, Krath, Myron. Others he did not know. Kill the humans, the voice ordered. Make it look like an accident. Get behind us. Do-han shouted to the nearby diplomats. The human team moved without thinking, forming a circle with their backs to the innocent bystanders. The first wave of attackers hit them like a storm. Yuna broke an arm before the attacker even touched her. She caught the incoming blade, twisted, and sent the Valori assassin flying into 2 of his companions. Taiho stood like a mountain as 3 Krath warriors rushed him. He did not block their strikes. He simply was not where the strikes landed. 1 step to the left. 1 leaned to the right. Then his hands found their throats, one after another. 3 bodies hit the ground. Yoonji moved like a ghost. She was there, then she was not there. Attackers swung at empty air while she struck them from angles they could not see. Her small size was now her greatest weapon. They could not hit what they could not catch. Jinsu grabbed a Myron assassin and lifted it over his head. The insectoid creature had 6 limbs and weighed twice what he did. It did not matter. He threw it into the crowd of attackers like a living weapon. Dohan channeled more energy than he ever had before. His hands glowed so bright they were almost white. Each strike sent shockwaves through the air. Assassins fell back with broken bones and burned skin. But there were too many. "We need to end this fast," Yuna called out. "I count 40 of them." "We are 5, said Taiho. "Then each of us handles 8, said Dohan. "Jinsu, Yoonji, protect the civilians. The rest of us push forward." They moved as one. After a year of training together, they did not need words. They knew what each person would do before they did it. Yuna went high, her kicks creating a path through the attackers. Dohan went low, sweeping legs and striking pressure points. Taiho advanced through the center, immovable and unstoppable. The fight lasted 6 minutes. It felt like hours. When the station security finally broke through the sealed doors, they found a scene they would never forget. 6 humans stood in the center of the hall. They were tired. They were bleeding from small cuts. But they were standing. Around them lay 40 unconscious attackers. Not one was dead. The humans had defeated them all without taking a single life. "We could have killed them," Yuna said to the security chief. Her voice was steady despite the blood running from a cut above her eye. "We chose not to." The security chief stared at the scene. "Why?" "Because we wanted to send a message," said Dohan. "We are not here to destroy. We are here to protect." The Galactic Assembly called an emergency session. The attack on Keller 7 had been recorded by hidden cameras. Every species in the galaxy had now seen what 6 humans could do against 40 trained killers. The footage was played again and again on news networks across known space. The coalition behind the attack was exposed. Valori hardliners, Krath supremacists, species that had built their power on the old order and feared the new one. But the assembly did not call for punishment. Instead, they called for understanding. The Valori representative stood to speak. She was the same old female who had led the investigation after the tournament. Her tendrils moved slowly with age and wisdom. "We gave the humans our sacred art," she said. "We thought we were offering charity to a young species. We did not understand." She looked at the human delegation. Humans do not receive gifts the way other species do. They receive seeds. And those seeds grow into something entirely new. Something that did not exist before. Something we cannot predict or control. She turned to address the full assembly. "If we had understood this, perhaps we would have been more careful. But now, there is no going back. The galaxy has changed. Human fighters are already training other species. Human techniques are spreading across every sector." The Krath ambassador stood. "Then what do you suggest? Do we simply accept that humans will remake everything in their image?" The old Valori shook her head. "No. We accept that change is coming, whether we want it or not. And we learn to adapt, as the humans do." She smiled, a rare expression for her species. "Perhaps that is the true lesson they have taught us. The galaxy does not belong to the strongest. It belongs to those who can change." The assembly voted to establish new categories for hybrid combat arts. Human instructors were officially licensed to teach Shinshell across known space. And a new phrase entered the galactic language. Going human. It meant taking something foreign and making it your own. 1 year later, Dohan stood in his family's training hall on Earth. The walls were decorated with old Korean weapons and new alien ones. His grandfather's sword hung next to a ceremonial Valori blade that Master Orvine had given him. 20 students knelt before him. Half were human. Half were aliens from 6 different species. All of them wore the same simple uniform. "Today we begin again," Dohun told them. "You are here to learn Shinsho, the new star dance. But I want you to understand something first." He walked among them slowly. "What I teach you is not the final form. It is not the perfect technique. It is just one step on a journey that will never end. You will learn what I know. Then you will change it. You will combine it with your own traditions, your own bodies, your own ideas." He stopped at the front of the class. That is what Shinshell truly means. Not one dance. Many dances. Always changing. Always growing. Always new. He bowed to his students. They bowed back. "Again," he said. They began to move together. Human and alien. 2 arms and 4 arms and 6 arms. All different. All beautiful. All part of something larger than any single species. Outside the window, the stars shone bright. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was still adjusting to its new reality. Old powers were falling. New alliances were forming. Everything was changing. But here in this small room, none of that mattered. Here, there was only the dance. The endless, beautiful dance of adaptation. Dohun smiled and joined his students. This was humanity's gift to the galaxy. Not strength. Not techniques. Just the simple truth that nothing had to stay the same forever. And that was enough to change everything. The end.